What's up, guys? Moogie here, and today I'm just going to be going over and commentating a match between two of my buddies. On the left, you'll see it's Eustace Kid, started at Kid, and on the right, it's Zoro. My buddy playing Zoro is actually trying out one of the lists that topped at a treasure cup. It's the one that's very 2-drop heavy. My theory behind that, since I haven't looked up any information on it, is that deck is a Zoro deck designed to do well both on the draw and on the play. So after testing it, though, my buddy didn't like it as much as just a standard Zoro list. It might have just been that deck had a very good tournament showing, like a very good opponent spread. It also just may be that my buddy is playing it not to its optimal level. I mean, it is the first time playing something like that. So anyway, let's just get into the match. So this is my first time seeing the game, so I'm just going to be doing live commentary. So forgive me if I miss anything. It seems like Kid starts off just by passing, and Zoro plays a Sanji for the first turn. Something I mentioned to my buddy is that there's a lot of merit to playing your 2 costs, even though they can have rush, just playing them out on curve, threatening them the attack the next turn. But here we go. Kid responds with the Nekomamushi, the absolutely perfect play against any red deck. You get a 5k attack in and counter with a Raizo, and so my buddy the Zoro player plays another Sanji and another Vivi. I'm sorry, not another Vivi, just a Vivi. We'll see how the Kid player responds. It's definitely going to be rough if he drops something like a Basil earlier, if he has more things to tap down. When he has Law, so he's going to return Nekomamushi and replay it. So let's see which one he prioritizes here. They're both 4Ks. So he prioritizes Sanji, and let's see if he defends it here. It's a 5k swing, so... Okay, he goes ahead and defends it with the Brook. So it takes it up to 6. Now, he can threaten 3 attacks this turn. Of course, he has a blocker, so... He's going to get in for 5 with Sanji. This, of course, trying to bait out the Law block so that he can use attacks into it. Another 5 with Vivi. The Kid, of course, countered with Momo first. Now he's taking this 5, and now a 6 with his Zoro. And he's countering with Izo for 7, and now a 7k swing with Luffy. And he's going to take that one. So pretty good turn. He dealt 2 damage in 1 turn. Obviously sequenced pretty well too. Didn't give him a great opportunity to use the Law block. Obviously you can argue that he could have used it against the Zoro attack and then used a 1k counter instead of a 2k counter, but then the Luffy would have been able to attack anyway, and it would have been able to attack the Law. So all in all, not too bad for Kid either, because you get to keep your board. And you took 2 life out of the 4 attacks, so not bad at all. So here he's going to use Law to get aggressive. Definitely a good play. And the Zoro player is going to save Luffy with Otama and Vivi. And that looks like it leads him with just 1 card in hand. So not the strongest play considering Kid can threaten 2 attacks on it, but okay, let's see another. This is, in my opinion, just a bit of inexperience because Otama is again going to be one of your most important cards in the green matchup, just because it can deal with the 8-drop and 7-drop Kids. Obviously is prioritizing trying to just have as much attackers as possible, but didn't pan out that way. Great play from the Kid also to utilize Nekomamushi to finish off the Luffy. Getting an attack with Kid, I believe, as well. And so great top deck, which was Nami, to at least give him 5 options instead of just the 1. So now he's just playing Revealed as a courtesy. That Robin hasn't been played yet. He's thinking about his attacks right now. Looks like it's going to be a 7k swing at Law. So let's see how Kid decides to play this one. And he blocks. And we're going to have another 7k swing. And it's at law again. And then an 8k swing. So I didn't necessarily like the beige block. You could argue you want to get rid of it since you know your opponent has Robin, but he had already committed all of his Dawn, so you knew Robin wasn't coming down at least this turn. I'd rather save the beige to protect life, but it ends up being the same since the second attack went toward law anyway. Okay, now Nekomamushi is going to get in at Vivi for 5 and Sanji for 5. And a 7-cost Kid. Great Dawn efficient play there. Exactly on curve. Let's see how the Zoro player tries to get out of this. Okay, just a 3k attack at Neko. Is trying to bait the Kid block. But yeah, great from Kid to not care. Sanji, a great card, especially to play later on because you can use it to draw cards, theoretically, from your life, of course. But since matchups like green don't ever want to threaten your life total. So we got a 10k attack in with Zoro and actually brought him down to his last life. So he can only take 2 more hits. Now, something me and my friends always discuss is whether there's merit to activate Sanji the turn that he came in just to get another card. I think it's most contentious to do that against Kid because Kid can threaten the double attacks in the late game and just really end the game in the blink of an eye, especially when you're on red and don't run nearly as many blockers and your counter is your pressure. So, of course, this turn not doing it, if he has a Nekomamushi or an Izo to answer the Sanji, it'll be a little bit more punishing. If he doesn't, then it'll be a fine play for the Zoro player. So Kid thinking long and hard about what to do here. Tapper would be really ideal because he's got 2 attacks, but only one of them can attack a character, and the character being Nami is not extremely relevant. So yeah, he's thinking, he does have the Izo, he's thinking really hard if he wants to commit a 2k counter to the board just to clear up that possible attack. Ultimately, I think it's worth it since Sanji represents 2 cards, you know, an attack and a draw. Oh, he's actually going to tap down the Robin. Very interesting. Oh, probably to protect his next plays, which is actually very smart. It looks like he wants to put down a killer and maybe even a Bonnie. Another nice play. Oh, unless he doesn't. He's thinking about playing the Okiku right now, which will have more value to close out the game. Obviously, he's under pressure, so he wants to close out the game pretty soon. The Zoro's at no cards in hand. And Okiku doesn't have counter, so just getting her out of your hand, you can, you know, worst case scenario, use Bonnie to counter with. But Okiku, you don't have that option. So, deciding to go a little bit more of the aggressive route, which I definitely can appreciate. Bonnie can draw you a card and theoretically like be a pseudo blocker by not, or by absorbing an attack, excuse me. But I decided to go with Okiku, which I do like. So it was a 7k swing at later. He blocks with the 7-cost Kid and counters with Rise over 8k. Let's see what Zoro drew. Okay, he's activating Sanji. Doesn't have any Rested Dawn, but it's just for the draw. Probably reading here to see if he can attach any Dawn, but Still does get plus 2000 power, so it's at 6k right now with Zoro's effect and his own. So this is 8. Interesting to leave 6 done back. He must have gotten something decent off of the life or his draw to not threaten 9. He's going to go ahead and take the killer block. And then just a pass. Interesting. I don't completely understand not using all your Dawn there. Or just more, because in the best case scenario, the kid player could have saved his killer and just countered out of hand. Although, of course, maybe the Zoro player wants that. Maybe he'd prefer less cards in hand. So it looks like the draws were a Sunnykun and a Vivi, not ideal at all. Also interesting to not play him down. I suppose wanting to threaten things like Red Hawk. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and attack 4. Oh, of course, he didn't play him down because Okiku's just threatening to kill them both, so he'd rather just counter with them. So really commanding board position from the kid player now. It's going to be basically Zoro's only way out is to draw things like Shanks or 5-cost Luffy in combination with Diablo Jambe. And like I mentioned, kid can really threaten, to end the game quickly. If he decides to play the 7-cost kid this turn, which it looks like he is, then next turn can just be 2 8k attacks. Put the rest of your Dawn on kid, which, let me do the math really quickly, would be... Yeah, so 2 8k attacks into 2 10k attacks, so extremely threatening. And then, of course, you'll still have the Okiku, so it's not looking good for Zoro. But, of course, let's see how it goes. If he found some help in the life and finds some off the top. Oh, and a beige for good measure. Yeah, I don't see a way out of this. He finds the Jambe, which is half of the puzzle, but he needed the 5-cost Luffy probably also. Especially for the board position that's currently set up. There's not a lot of cards in kid's hand, so the Jambe into Luffy attack would be, let's see, a 9k Luffy attack into a 9k Zoro, so probably good enough. But that's, of course, not what's there, so it looks like this one's going to be over soon. So Zoro players thinking what they could possibly do to get out of this. 3 blockers. There's a Jet Pistol and a Vivi in addition to the Jambe. And this is where, like I mentioned, it might come back to bite him that he didn't save the Otamas. So he's going to attack for 10 with Zoro. Just a block with beige. Okiku gets Jet Pistol, then let's see if Kid goes for the win here. Activating Bonnie. Seems like he's going to take the safer route, which, to be fair, is... Like, I wouldn't be too worried myself either. Maybe going for the kill is a little too aggressive, especially since something like a Red Hawk can really ruin that line. So let's see, we got an 8k at lead. It's just gonna take it. Well, he found the Luffy. Another 8k at lead. And there's Sai. So right now he currently only has 2k counter in hand among 2 cards. So he's gonna go for it. 9 at lead. Only Red Hawk would save you here. And then 9 at lead, and he has exactly 4k, I believe. Straw Sword and Sanji and 2 1ks. Unfortunate. And yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. If you're going to go for that line, it's probably safer to just not activate Bonnie. You don't want to give them a chance to get out of it if you're going for the kill. And as you can see with the Luffy and the Jambe, if he had survived that turn, like if one of those 1ks was a 2k, he actually might have won. So anyways, good game. Thanks to my friends for letting me record, and that's gonna do it, guys. See ya.